Grinding my gears. People that do no or poor research into entry-level mining jobs. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and today I am doing another Grind My Gears video because lately and in the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks I've been approached, and we've been approached, Jess as well, keep getting approached by people that seem to do absolutely no research into getting a mining job and just jump in with both feet, and then get really upset when everything that they've done doesn't lead to the desired result that they want. And I think the best thing to do is to just say up front that there is no magic ticket. It's just a lot of hard work. Even with what we do with the underground training, it's all down to you learning how it works, so you've got something to offer the employers. There's no, you can have a look at what I said in my last Grinding My Gears with the resumes. There's no magic resume that you can do that's just going to magically get you a job. And even if you are lucky enough to magically get a job with a resume that somebody's done for you, you've still got a 60% chance of failing if you walk through the door on the first day and not know how anything works, because that's the industry average, unfortunately. So today I just want to talk about, people that don't do research and the type of research that you should be doing into the industry if you want to get a job. Now, for most people, the starting point in getting a mining job is that they want to get paid lots of money. And unfortunately, because of automation and what's going on with prices around the place, it's not as easy to pick your way through where the actual good mining jobs are. So at the moment, the best jobs are in gold mines that are paying the most, and then you've got copper mines, and you got other base metal mines around the place that are paying a lot of money. Because of automation in iron ore and a lot of the coal mines, a lot of those good paying jobs have been sucked out of it. So now, instead of making $150,000 of driving a big dump truck on the surface, a lot of people will be lucky to make 90 to 110 doing the same job, purely because there's not that many of those jobs out there anymore, because most of those jobs got replaced by driverless trucks. So if you want to know where the best paying jobs are, then we'll come over to the underground training website and have a look at pay rates and rosters, and you can see your entry level roles are around that $90,000 a year, and they go up to 120 depending on what you're doing. And then you've got your service crew, leading hand, bogger, diamond drill, long hole operator, charge up operator. At the moment, there's a lot of jobs going for people that know how to bog and know how to charge. They're calling them all-rounders, and most people are getting paid $180,000 a year plus on an even time roster. So that is seriously good money for mining, especially considering that a lot of those jobs that you can learn in, you can be in that position within 3 or 4 years of being in the industry. Now, if you stick around a bit longer, you go where everybody wants to go, which is the jumbo operator job, and then shift boss and foreman. So you can make between 180 and 350,000 doing those jobs or more, as foremen can sometimes make. But a lot of the jumbo operators, they're making anything up to $2,500 a day, so a couple of $100 an hour. So if you want to make money in mining, this is the pathway that you want to get to. This is the job that you want to do. These are the jobs that you want to get into, because they're the jobs that pay the most money going forward. Now, if we jump onto Seek, and I've put digger operator in, and I'm just purely doing this because the digger is the top job in the production mining side of things on the surface, and you have a look at some of these jobs with what they're paying. That's just a crusher's job, so that's just a loader's job loading in there. But excavator operator, $67.25 an hour. So it's nowhere near the couple of $100 an hour that a jumbo operator gets paid. And, all those, it's all around between $55 and $70 an hour, which, is a reasonable wage, but it's not the $180,000 that a digger operator used to make sort of 10, 15 years ago. And the reason why is because there's so many more people running around with the skills, and there's not a lot of jobs around on the surface. So you'll see a lot of the $50 to $70 an hour mark. And the other reason is with the coal price. The coal price 2 years ago used to be $400 a tonne US. Now it's $125 a tonne US. Whereas the gold price 2 years ago. It used to be $1,800 an ounce, and now it's $3,700 an ounce or higher. I just did a blog article on this the other day that I've put up there. It made a new high a couple of weeks ago, $3,761 an ounce. You're not really seeing it in the media. You're not seeing it in the stories around where the jobs are. People are still trying to tell you to jump into shutdown work and civil work and all that sort of stuff, and it's just not going to help you. If this is a map with all the mines loaded up on it, gold mines and base metal mines around the country, and the production side of things. So if you want a job that's going to be in the production side of things, that's going to get you onto a pathway where you're going to make this really big money here, then this is this is where you've got to go. You've got to start in as a nipper or an underground truck or an underground driller's offsider or a paste fill or somewhere like that. So this is your first port of call. So entry-level truck, you've got underground truck with burn cut. There's jobs all over the country. You just type underground into Seek and they all come up. But if you type civil in, you'll see all the civil jobs come up, and the civil jobs, they will ask for a nationally accredited R2 plant operation tickets. Well, the production jobs, the mining jobs, if you click on this and you have a look at the nipper job here, nobody's asking for any tickets. All they want is any previous experience, ability work, current C-Class West Australian driver's licence. They don't need tickets because they've got to issue their own on site. So we get a lot of people that come through, and this really winds me up, that spend $5,000 to $10,000 on tickets that none of the employers can use. Because even if you want to get to a jumbo operator job and you want to start, and you're going to start in civil, no matter how much experience you get in civil, you still have to go back to this step to start. There's no moving across into a bogger position or a charge up or something like that. The only way to work your way through the crew is to start at the bottom and work your way up. There are exceptions out there with people that are related to big bosses that start a little bit higher, but the majority of the time those people always get found out, because the best way to make sure that you do a good job and you have a long and profitable career and you can get paid a lot of money is to make sure that you learn how to do each of the jobs along the pathway. And, that's how you end up being a really good jumbo operator, shift boss, foreman, and, you get paid really good money if you can do that well. And the best way to do that is to learn how it all works and know how it works. So I get extremely frustrated when I constantly get told by people, I'll just go and get a utility job. And so you type utility in and you'll see them all come up. And again, there's nothing in this utility job that's going to teach you anything about mining that's going to help you with the other jobs. So even if you do spend a year or two doing this, or 3 years doing this, none of the experience is really of any value to the underground employers, and you still have to go back and start at this position, and there's no way around it. It just is what it is as far as that's concerned. And like everybody's looking, there's lots of jobs around. Barminco have got their job ads up all the time, and they've actually moved back, and so have Burncut. They've actually got people going on 2 and 1 with truck driving now instead of even time, which was the norm. And the only reason I can see them having to go back to 2 and 1 is because they need a quarter less truck drivers if they do 2 and 1 than they do even time. I'm sure their clients would want them to be doing even time, but the reason that they're not is that people will be doing 2 and 1 because they'll be getting a bit of a bump in the pay on what they would normally be getting. So they'll probably be getting about 120,000 a year if they're doing 2 and 1, opposed to an even time, say on 90 or 95 or something like that. So you get a bit of pump in the pay for the person, but also it's easier to cover the shifts when you got people on 2 and 1. But that's that's just because they need bums in seats and they're desperate and they can't train enough people up quick enough, because so many people get turned over so quickly because they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. The failure rate for these mining jobs, if you don't know how this specific type of mining works, is over 50%. And that's one of the reasons why the training was written back in the day. It doesn't cost very much money to do, and if you have a look at these PDF files, it'll show you exactly what you're going to learn, and it teaches you, how the mine works, the ground support, how we install the ground support, the development mine, taking a cut, firing a cut, the escapeways, production mining, paste fill. Goes through the whole 9 yards, goes through what all the jobs are, does a unit on scaling and safety and surviving the first 12 months. Does all that sort of stuff. And the next one, Nipper and other important duties, it just builds on that, and it teaches you everything that the employers want you to know, so they can have a proper conversation with you in the interview about what is going to be expected of you on site. And you're not just doing this for them, you're doing it for yourself, because unfortunately the way the system works is when they bring people in green, they've got to bring them up to speed as quickly as possible, and unfortunately not everybody gets it at the same speed. And if you don't get it quick enough, then you don't end up having a job. It's as simple as that. And the other thing is that a lot of people jump into it not knowing whether it's going to be for them or not. And the best way to work out whether mining's going to be for you is to do this. Spend the $495, do the training. It teaches you the good stuff and the bad stuff, and you're going to know for sure whether you want to go mining or not. Because, with all these jobs around the country, out of 100 people that do the training, there's between 35 and 40 that'll do it, that'll decide that it's not for them. Then there'll be another 15 people that'll half-arse it and not study properly, and they'll apply and they'll get interviews. And then the rest of the people that study properly and apply and chase the jobs down, they all get jobs. It's just about giving the employers what they want, somebody that knows how it all works. And it just winds me up that people just jump straight into it without knowing how it all works or what's going on. If you take the utility job, there's a big thing with the poaching rules that go with that. And I'm not going to go into it in too much detail because you can have a look at the videos on it. But basically what it is in the late 90s, they introduced rules onto sites, into contracts, that said if you move from one company to another, you've got to go off site for 6 months before you can start with a new company. And that was to stop people like my bosses back in the day poaching people off the kitchen crew and the people that are making beds to go for the nipper and truck jobs. You just weren't allowed to do it anymore. And that's why it's really hard, and people get stuck in these utility roles just because of the poaching rules, and it's hard to make that jump across. It's the same with civil. If you don't know how the mine works, no matter how much experience you've got doing something else on a mine site, if you don't actually know how the underground mine works, then you've got, you're not bringing anything to the table for them, because they still have to teach you everything. And in my experience, and in their experience as well, because I've been doing it for 30 years now, people that come in with experience from other areas of mining fail just as quickly and just as much as people that come in that were working for fast food joints or working at Woolworths. And so, it becomes less and less about, what you've done in the past, especially if if you can talk to them about how it all works and what's going on in their mine site, and more about what you can do for them in the next couple of weeks by being a productive member of crew. And it just gets me that you've got all these people running around that try and go and spend a whole heap of money without actually doing any research first. If you still think that you need R2 tickets to get a production job on a mine site, on a gold mine site, then you haven't done enough research. If you think that you need an S11 to work on a hard rock mine anywhere around the country, you haven't done enough research. And by the way, the people that are selling you the S11 don't know anything about mining if they're telling you that the S11's nationally recognised. Because again, you can look through all these ads, and at no point is anybody asking for an S11 in any of these things. So because they're all hard rock, it's only coal in Queensland that uses the S11. So it's it's just a matter of doing your research, understanding how it all works, and then making the most of your opportunities as you come past, and having a plan. That's the best thing, is to have a plan. But it really grinds my gears that so many people just jump in with doing poor or absolutely no research before they start looking for a job, and especially spending money on stuff that's just not going to help them. So I hope you found that information helpful, and thank you for letting me vent. And if you've got any more questions, please send them through. And if you could share this video around and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.